The worst thing that you can do is pursue a career based upon money, how much you're going to get paid. Because it doesn't matter how much you get paid, you're going to always be overworked and underpaid for who you are because you're in the wrong place. Welcome to another episode of Becoming with Angelina Watkins, where we are turning dreamers into believers and doers, where we are having open, candid conversations about how we've overcome, reached a level of success, and we're living life on our terms. And we are here to give you a fresh perspective and the blueprint so that you also can win at love, life, and money. And I'm your host, Angelina Watkins, your queen of becoming, here to help you become who you're supposed to be so that you can do what you're purposed to do, so you can live the life that you want to live. All right, now if this is your first time joining us, welcome. Thank you for joining us and tuning in. Go ahead and make sure that you hit that subscribe button. All right, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification so you don't miss another episode. Now today we've got a thought prompt from TD Jakes, and we've got our masterclass all about matching your personality type to your career choice. And then we have a viewer's Q&A question session. All right, so let's get on into this. I want to start with the thought prompt that comes from TD Jakes. It's a sermon that he had, and it's an older clip, but it's something that I happened to come across that I seen on Instagram that I thought was just very befitting of my masterclass today. But I want to get into the clip, and I'm just going to let you listen to it here. So listen to this.
You don't have to fit in the box that anybody made for you and describe you and incarcerate you to their opinion of what you ought to do. God has given you permission. Shout it. I have permission.
I have
permission. I have permission.
Now, he started out the clip talking about being put in the box, allowing people to put you in the box of what they think you should do. Okay. And I want to talk about that a little bit because I want to just know for you all out there, how many of you have chosen a career based upon what your family wanted you to do, what your friends thought you should do, what your pastor thought was best for you, and you didn't do what you wanted to do. I remember there was this young boy who had taken a liking to my daughter, and he came and I was talking to him one day, and he was telling me how he really loved football, but his dad wants him to play basketball. So he was playing both football and basketball, but football was his passion. That's where he found his strength. That's where he found, his determination. That's where he found himself, was in football. But he was doing basketball. He was okay at basketball, but he was doing basketball because that's what his father wanted him to do. And how many of us grow up pursuing careers based upon the box that our family and friends have put them in, according to who they say we are? Girl, you're so good at this, you should do X, Y, and Z. Girl, you're so smart, you speak very well, you should be this or you should be that. And we're listening to everyone else, including teachers. Teachers will tell you that you excel so well in a certain area that you should pursue a career. I remember being in high school, math was my best subject. I really excelled in math, and I even loved math. So it was natural that it was thought of that and told me that you should, be an accountant. When you think of numbers and you think of someone who's good in math, we automatically back in the day thought that you should be some type of accountant, working in accounts receivable, payable, doing something where you're balancing accounts, whether you're working at a bank. And Lord, but unbeknownst to me, yes, that's what I did. I followed the box that everyone was putting me in, and I found myself in the financial world. Why? Because I was so good at math. And I remember I had finally gotten a job that was in an office, but guess what I was doing? Grant management. I was handling the budget. I was handling accounts receivable and payables. I still found myself dealing with numbers, and I remember just wanting to get another job that had nothing to do with numbers because I didn't like crunchy numbers. I thought I wanted to be an accountant till I actually got a job in an accounting department, and I was balancing accounts all day and I was bored. And that's when I realized, no, I can't be an accountant. This is not for me. And my major was accounting, so now I needed to change my major. But to what? I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew accounting wasn't it. I was not meant to be a CPA. I was not meant to crunch numbers all day. But now I had to find myself. And I had to figure out who I was so I could figure out where I should be. And that leads me into the masterclass for today, where we're going to talk about how to match your personality type to a career. And it would take me years before I would really be able to hone in on what I was good at and where I was meant to be and what my talents and skills were outside of what everybody else is telling me to do. I had to figure out who I was so I could figure out where I belonged and what I was purposed to do, so that I could choose a career and choose a job of where I wanted to be. And when I began to realize who I was, which I will tell you, exploring jobs, sometimes you might have to do that to figure out who you are and what you like. But when I was exploring these jobs, I was learning, no, I'm not meant to do this. Nope, I'm not meant to do that. Nope, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Until I started figuring out on these jobs, what did I like best about these jobs? Where did I flourish? Where are my strengths? And then that's when I began to hone in on what are my talents, right? And then be able to now say, I will never, ever take this type of job unless I'm really desperate, right? I knew and I realized that call centers were not for me. After having a few call center jobs, I just realized call centers are not for me. So when I began looking for a job, I knew I am not applying for anybody's customer service rep. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a customer service rep, but my personality did not fit that job. And so therefore, I knew that I did not belong in a call center. Don't look for another job in a call center, and therefore I won't apply. So it's really important that you know who you are. It's really important that you know what your talents and your gifts are and your skills and your knowledge, so that you can put those all together to decide what would be the best career choice and position for you, so that you can pursue what's going to be right for you. Because what's going to happen is you're going to find yourself unhappy where you are because you're not fulfilled, because you're not operating in your strengths and your purpose. So let's go ahead and get into the masterclass of today of matching your personality type to your career. Now, it's going to be very important that you really take inventory of your talents, those things that come natural to you, your skills and abilities, those things that you have acquired, whether they were on the job training, whether they were from college and high school. Where did you acquire additional skills that actually support your talents? And then what knowledge do you have? What knowledge has been transferred to you? And then begin to evaluate all of those things together to determine where will you flourish and where will you be. The worst thing that you can do is pursue a career based upon money, how much you're going to get paid. Because it doesn't matter how much you get paid, you're going to always be overworked and underpaid for who you are, because you're in the wrong place. And that's where you're going to find yourself being very, very unhappy in a job, because you're not operating within your authentic self of who you are, where you are able to flourish in your strengths. And money is not it. And a lot of people chase money. I was a paper chaser at one point. I was pursuing careers and looking at careers where I thought I could make the most money, where I could get those six figures, right? But I got the six figures, based upon finally pursuing myself, pursuing jobs and careers that fit who I am and my personality type, in which I could flourish in my strengths. And when I did that, when I operated in who I am, the money came. So remember that. Don't chase money. Chase who you are. Chase what's going to be right for you. Chase your strengths, because that's where your confidence and your happiness and your peace is going to lie within a job, is when you chase who you are and you operate in who you are. Okay. And so you got to think about who you are when it comes to careers. And I want to give you all maybe a few examples of what it looks like to say, hey, this is my personality type, and what kind of jobs would fit the type of person I am. Now, the examples I'm going to give you, it's not all inclusive, but I just want to be able to give you all a little bit of a visual of how this would work for you, right? And so we have personality types where we might be an introvert or an extrovert, right? I'm an introvert. Although sometimes I can be an extrovert. It just depends on the atmosphere and who I'm around. But in the sense of it all, I'm an introvert, right? And if you're an introvert, you're someone who, you don't really like crowds. You're not that socialite. You're not that one who wants to go out all the time. You're comfortable staying at home, with, watching a good movie or curled up to a book or having a little small intimate gathering with close friends and family. And so a lot of people and dealing with people all the time can be exhausting for you. And so a job where you have to deal with a lot of people may not be right for you. So if you're an introvert, you might think about jobs like being an accountant. Okay, you wouldn't be the person that's getting the accounts. You would just be the person in the background crunching all the numbers for the person who's got to then report those numbers out to someone else. You might want to work in computers. You don't really have to work with people, except for if you maybe work the help desk, and that's over the phone, right? You might be a blogger, so you write. You might be a digital marketer for others, so you're not the person with the face of the company, but you're the person helping that person make their marketing materials. You might be an editor, an author, a graphic designer. I hope you get a sense of what I'm saying here, because these types of jobs just doesn't require much of you. It requires more mental than anything. It doesn't really require you still have to interact with people no matter what job you have. But this one is, if you're introvert, those types of jobs don't require you to interact with people all day, every day. But now, if you're extrovert, that's a different story. You like being around people. You like socializing. It gives you your energy and it gives you that high to be around people, to talk around people. And that's why some of us during the pandemic that were extroverts, it wasn't good for us, because now we're closed off. We can't be around people, and which people feed our energy, or we feed off of their energy. And so some people who are extroverts, they like going into the office. If you're introvert, you like working at home. That's just fine with you. But if you're an extrovert, working at home is just boredom, and it's insanity for you. You want to get out and be around people. So if you're an extrovert, a job such as like a salesman, a lawyer, public relations, a recruiter, okay, because now you've got to recruit some people, a flight attendant, teacher or counselor, a performer, an actor or actress, a photographer, social media influencer. Those personality types of those type of jobs work well for those who are an extrovert. You got to think about, maybe you're someone who you're talkative, or you have the gift of speaking. Okay, you know how to articulate some things, you know how to break some things down, you can teach people some things. Those are your you could be a salesperson, an announcer, a coach, a consultant, a customer service rep. Now, I'm talkative, but customer service rep was not for me. So you got to think about, even within the jobs that require you to speak, where is still what's going to be best for you. You got to think about your whole personality, not just parts of your personality. My personality is, I am a teacher. I can break things down. I can talk. But there's other parts of me that says that a talking job is still going to be important of the rest of who I am, because I'm not going to be good at sales. Because as a teacher, I want to teach you things. I want to break things down. I want to make sure you have the knowledge so that you can make the best decision that you make. And as a salesperson, that's not going to work. So when I was a real estate agent, it didn't do me justice during the time that I was a real estate agent. There was a lot of foreclosures going on because I'm going in a house with a person who's losing their home and hopes to put their house on the market and do a short sale. And then here I am, I'm sitting here, I'm asking them questions and I'm finding out what they're going through to only realize that, oh my God, you have been defrauded. Let's go to the attorney general or the Department of Real Estate or wherever, and we're going to file a complaint. And I just done talked myself out of a sale. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a teacher because I wanted that person to understand what their rights were and do what they felt was best for them. Okay. If you're a speaker, you might be a motivational speaker, a reporter or anchor person, an attorney, or maybe even a voiceover actor. And so if you are maybe a leader, maybe you have the natural ability to lead. And so you might be a project manager. I'm a project manager, a strategic planner, organizational development person, a consultant, a business owner, politics, okay? Military officer, retail manager, and again, these are just examples. But you got to think about who you are and what you do and what's going to work for you. Detail oriented. If you're a detail oriented person, maybe you might be a surgeon because they have to be detail oriented. We've got to get that right when we're doing surgery. An anesthesiologist, a pharmacist, a web developer, an executive assistant, an editor, or a proofreader. Okay. If you are creative, maybe you might be a makeup artist, a cosmetologist, an art teacher, a musician or a music producer, a film writer, video creator, an architect, get into technology, or maybe even a fashion designer. Okay, so you got to start exploring who you are and kind of thinking about some careers that might suit you and what your strengths are and where you feel like you would flourish and find satisfaction and fulfillment. Okay, so just start thinking about and taking inventory again of your talents, your skills, and your knowledge and your personality traits, and putting all of those things together and evaluating those according to what type of career and what that's going to require of you, and then match the career accordingly. Okay, now let's get into the Cures Q&A. Now for the Cures Q&A, for the viewers Q&A, I'm so sorry y'all, I'm just talking over myself. So for the viewers Q&A, I want to talk a little bit about being micromanaged. How do you deal with being micromanaged at work? But before we get into dealing with being micromanaged, you know what? I got a video, and the video comes from a Trey Brown. I played him on a different podcast episode, but he cracks me up. I find him to be hilarious, okay? And I enjoy his videos, and so I wanted to play this video for you.
Hi, Jack. How are you? I'm not doing well because I'm sick of you posting on social media during the workday.
Wow.
You're not allowed to do that, and
Wow.
it's against our policy.
You know what?
I can't do. What is
No,
what
no,
are
no,
you doing?
because I want you to let my social media followers know that I'm not allowed to post on my social accounts even when all my work is completed.
You know what, DeAndre?
Yeah,
I'm
let
not
them
doing
know.
this with you. Just turn in your work on time, and that's it.
All right, that's what I thought. You all will not control me, and I will not be silenced.
Y'all, I love it. Okay, he's hilarious. But the video talked about being micromanaged, and of course, he's making light and making it a comedy about being micromanaged, because you do have jobs in which the people over you are watching and looking at everything that you do, and they're scrutinizing your work. They're belittling you when you do just one little mistake. And how do you deal with the micromanager? How do you deal with someone who's constantly over your shoulder, criticizing every little thing that you do, worried about if you're going to meet deadlines? You haven't even missed a deadline, and they're just all in your business. What do you do with those people? How do you work with them? And I want to let you know that people who micromanage, they have control issues. and that is a false persona that I teach about of being controlling. And people who are controlling become controlling because one, they've been controlled. And like he says, you will not control me. You've been controlled. And you, at this point, don't want to be controlled. And so for you to not be controlled, you then control others. And so the behavior that you disliked, you are now projecting that onto others. You've now taken on that role of what you didn't like that someone was doing to you. And it all comes out of either being controlled or fear. Sometimes we control things because we've lost things. Something has happened that things didn't go the way that we wanted them to go, and we felt a loss. And so now we feel like we've got to control things so that the outcome will be what we want it to be. That if we put the control into other people's hands, then our livelihood and our success is in someone else's hand, and we don't like that. We feel uncomfortable relying on others, and so then we begin to micromanage. We carry that into the job and we micromanage, and we're worried about whether or not this person is going to get their work and do what they need to do and it be successful, because now it's going to be on you. You're going to be looked at if this person doesn't do what they're supposed to do and they're not successful. We take that on as if it's us. And what you have to do when you're working with someone who's a micromanager is one of the things that I would suggest is that you have a conversation. Sit down and have a conversation with them about their behavior, how they're coming across to you, and how that's making you feel. And then make sure that you are telling them how you would prefer that they work with you moving forward. You gotta have an adult conversation, because at this point, this micromanaging is a conflict, and you have to resolve that conflict. And the only way you can resolve conflict is to have conversation. We can't ignore it. And that's what a lot of us do. We ignore it and we throw it over our shoulders, and we go home and we're stressed out and we're upset and we're complaining to our spouse and we're complaining to our friends, when we should have just had a conversation with the person who has offended us. Okay? So that is going to be my advice to you, is to have a conversation. That's how you deal with micromanagers. Now, if they don't want to stop, if they don't want to stop micromanaging you, then you have to figure out some other approach as to your work, because what's happening is they don't trust you. And you've got to build the trust. And that's why having the conversation, it would be helpful, because now you're building relationship. But somewhere in there's some mistrust, and they're not trusting you to be able to take care of what they need to be done. And so you've got to start building a relationship with them that is built upon trust, so that they can feel secure in knowing that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. So have that conversation, and I say do both. Have the conversation and continue to try to build the relationship. Get to know them. Let them get to know you. I know some of us, we go to these jobs and we're like, I don't want to get to know nobody. I'm not here to make friends. Nobody's saying you have to be friends, but you do have to work together. So get to know them, have lunch with them, if you work in a virtual environment, sit and have a conversation with them, but get to know that person, build the rapport, build the relationship, so that you can build the trust. That's how you work around micromanagers. All right. Now, where you are is not where you have to be. Your past does not define you. You define you. So heal, transform, and pursue you.